Dude, I texted you and I said, dude, this episode has me crying because it was a very transparent. It was a moment I think we all were waiting for.
All right, what's going on, guys? So we're here. We're talking about Full Swing, Episode 3, Mind Game. I have Edgar with me. I had such a blast last time. I figure why not do it again? So welcome back again, brother.
Thank you. I'm honored, first of all, to be at Fired Birdie Golf. No, I'm just kidding. But honestly, it's fun to be talking about the Netflix series. It's fun to be able to speak it out and hear other people's thoughts about the series. So thank you for inviting me again.
For sure, for sure. And I think we're gonna keep on doing this. All right, let's talk about episode 3. This is one I know you've been wanting to talk about. Love to hear your thoughts. I know this is something that like really resonated for both of us, right? So this is called Mind Game, and it's basically focusing on two players, Wyndham Clark and Joel Dahlman, right? And so I feel like the whole live and PGA Tour, all that drama, they didn't really bring it up, but really focusing right away talking about these two players. And so, of course, like what's interesting is like I know Joel was a highlight on season 1, right? And he, because of that, all the Netflix stuff, he became this like rock star. People started loving him, and just to, again, recap, because of that fame, and then him being really popular, but at the same time being one of the worst golfers or lowest ranked golfers. I think there's some major tensions that's going on or over there. So you got that, and then we're also talking about Wyndham Clark and his pursuit of just his mental health as well too, with really trying to be an elite player, but at the same time trying to seek that help of getting to becoming a successful, not just as a physical player, but as a mental player as well too. And so I don't know, right off the bat, like, so again, it's called Mind Game. Right away, this is an episode that talks about mental health. I don't know if you had any thoughts, like Edgar, what was your thoughts when after watching this, like, or just overall episode 3?
I First of all, Joe is a golfer that I think the majority of us can relate to. That's why he became so popular in golf. And Netflix in season 1 highlighted him, and now season 2 did a follow up of who he is more after the fame, after all these things, but also see that that careless golfer actually be more affected emotionally, professionally, when it comes to like, hey, I'm not that I don't care anymore, but more the toll that it's taking on him, not taking his profession serious. I think that this season, last season was really cool. Him, the cool golfer, and now it's like, hey, we got to take this serious. And being able to see that going into his mental state, being able to go into his household, being able to hear his wife calling him out, not only him, but several people calling him out.
Yeah, Geno, right?
Oh, yeah. His caddies, everyone needs a caddy like Geno. I'll say that straight up. Not only a caddy, 100%. But everyone needs someone like him in our lives. And to see someone like that stay with him, walk with him, I can only imagine how much it means to him. And we'll talk about it later, but towards the end, we see the reality of like, man, how important it is to have someone like that. But going back to Joel, that golfer, the golfer of who he is, that fun, I could care less, the average golfer finding he's the average golfer that made it. That's the way I like to see him. He's the average golfer, the scratch golfer who made it, making big bucks, doing cool things, getting promotion, getting promoted, getting sponsors. I mean, and that's I think that's everybody's dream. But now that he's there, he can't go any further. He can't win. He's falling apart. He's not making cuts. He's taking a toll on him. So seeing that was very awesome, getting deep in there.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, like seeing season 1, kind of that, that the coolness, the relatable aspect. Even season 2, you can relate with him still. But there's part of me too is kind of like, man, like it's just like stop drinking. And
Take it
so
serious, dude. We all want to be there.
yeah, but those are like signs of like depression. I mean, from what I
Yeah.
know, like those are signs of depression when you're constantly drinking and drinking, right? And then not only that, but you have the loved ones constantly saying, being real and upfront with them. But I feel like I get it too, because the pressures of really trying to provide for family, yeah, for the household, right? And then not only for the household, but also for Geno, for his paycheck, right? So like not only that, so he's or yeah, so he's got like all of that weight on him, and then not only that, him dealing with maybe the death of his mom as well too.
Mm.
And then I mean the guy has gone through a lot as well too, because he's a cancer survivor, right? So he defeated cancer. So even that, like to process, and then also the Netflix, like getting popular because of Netflix.
Yeah.
Just so much has happened in his life for him not to want to process it and meet with someone. There's that. I think Netflix did a really good job of. I know we're going to talk about Wyndham Clark, but really going back and forth where you're seeing like Joel is kind of like anti, like I don't want to meet with anybody, but then you have Wyndham Clark who's open. At first was kind of resistant, but was open, and you're seeing his success because of that. The sports psychiatrist or whatnot or counselor. But when I was watching Joel, I'll be honest with you, I was so frustrated with it. Like, even though I understand kind of in the sense of like where he's coming from with the weight of his shoulders on his shoulders, I was still frustrated because it's like, bro, Gio is like he's being upfront and real with you. Your wife, you're like stop drinking, like all that stuff. And so I don't know. That's how I was feeling. I was feeling a little frustrated with him throughout the episode.
But I think when you get to a state like that,
Yeah.
I just read a book, and guys, I don't read. I actually read it. It's comment down below. It's listening to an audiobook, reading a book. Just saying. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But I was listening to an audiobook that basically said, hey, if there's two people in your life who are very close to you telling you the same thing, that there's something wrong with you, it's time for you to listen. And it's one of those things where Joe just kept putting it back, and he kept excusing himself for why he's not playing good golf. Because like, well, I'm not playing good golf because of this and all these things. And it was very transparent when he talked about his mother's passing and him going to a therapist, and the therapist telling him what to do or how he
was
felt.
feeling, yeah.
His feelings. So for him to be transparent about why, but also I think a lot of the times we as human beings do that a lot. Well, because of my past experience with this individual or a specific individual, that's the reason why I'm not going for or seeking for help.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, well, I understand that's what you're going through, but that was your one experience, and you have multiple people telling you, hey, you need to not provide, but you need to step it up, and you need to take this serious. And you can just hear all the weight, all the pressure, financial, kid, family, sucking at golf, not making the cut, all those things just building up, and yet him just saying it's whatever.
Yeah.
And like you said, it was frustrating at first, but then I love the compare and contrast, and the way Netflix did that for someone who actually took it further and said, "Hey, you know what? I have a problem. I don't know how to handle my emotions. I am." And he, Wyndham had that background. He was emotional. He would get mad. He would get frustrated, and his game would go down. And for him to see, "Hey, there's something wrong with me. I need to go seek help."
Yeah.
And to see that contrast was really, man, Netflix storytelling on point. It's it's one of those things where I'm just like, you're doing well, Netflix. You're doing well. You're keeping us entertained. But this theme of mental health was very key and very transparent in this episode 3.
I'm kind of curious how they put two and two together with like telling the stories of Joel and Wyndham Clark, because you couldn't have asked for any better pairing of storytelling, the contrast.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I agree. I agree with everything that you're saying. And but let's talk about Wyndham Clark, which even his story too, because he himself too is very similar, where his mom passed away too, right? And
Hmm.
that affected him. And then the fact that he was able to, at first he was resistant to getting help, right? His caddy, but yet another caddy, right? A person,
Yeah.
close friend, a close coach or whatnot, being real with him, where it ended up where he was ended up getting that help, right? And we're seeing that success. I thought that was kind of, it was brave of him to be able to do that kind of thing, to be really open to reliving like some of the feelings with his mom passing away and some of the things that his mom was saying, and not only like going through those emotions but also trying to play professional golf. Man, I'm not as familiar with Wyndham Clark himself, his game or anything, but that kind of really, I mean, because that's the first time I'm really understanding who he was or who he is, like I have mad respect for him that he was able to go through that journey of really seeking help. Through, yeah,
And I'm looking up the therapist's name. I
Julie.
can't. Julie, my gosh, to see, it was cool to see that motherly figure
Yeah,
towards him, to be able to walk him through. There was a part where he got emotional, like, "Hey, I just needed someone to talk about the dumb crap. Like,
yeah,
how's your day? What?" And
yeah,
to have that therapist there, to have that, and there was a section where like, well, what haven't we talked about? Well, we haven't really talked about life stuff.
yeah,
So to see that therapist really, really care for him and care for him really well was good to see. Obviously, was a passing of his mother, having that individual in his life when she was there when he won the U.S. Open, correct? She
yeah,
was there, and it was good to see how a sport therapist is able to impact the life of a golfer in such a deep way. When it was cool to see him when he was when he would hit some really bad shots, and
oh
you
yeah,
would see the difference. Yeah, he would hit some really bad shots, and we're like, man, he ain't gonna make it out of there. But
yeah,
then you would see that they would show a shot of the therapist, keep watching him, and then there would be a change. You can literally see the difference of what Wyndham would have been in the past to who he is now.
yeah,
And of someone who seeked for help, someone who went through the process, continues to go through the process, which makes me really, really also want to root for Joel next season. And what this season, I'm keeping a really good eye on Joel to see if he's actually keeping up to the promises he's making to his caddy, to
yeah,
see if it's
yeah,
legit, he legit is taking this much more serious, or he's just like, you know what, screw it, it's whatever, golf. But Wyndham Clark got it, and he was a golfer I never had heard of. And this year he's just blowing up, win after win, top five. All these things, like, man, this is what it's all about. To have that emotional support during your most deepest struggles. Seeing Clark was awesome. I'm rooting for him.
I thought it was just because he has a jailbird brother as well too.
No, man, it's all about, and maybe it's all about that lab golf. No.
It is. Hey, people are jumping on the lab train right now, right?
That's
You're
right.
drinking the Kool-Aid.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, guys. I mean, I bought a lap putter. Let's see how that goes. All because of Mr. Phil over here.
But actually, going back to Wyndham Clark, like, man, I feel like this whole episode is just so relatable because even like I remember the passing of my brother, right? And even just like to process all of that, and then for love, like close friends and loved ones to suggest, hey, go see a counselor or go see a psychiatrist. Yeah, at first you're like, you don't want to, but right, because you don't want to deal with any of the feelings, but the fact that you know what? I've got to, right? I got to do it not just for myself, but for my family. Got to do it for just all the loved ones around me, right? To show them like, hey, this is a step forward in healing. And I feel like in the same way with Wyndham Clark, I feel like for him to heal, he needed to be brave and take those steps, be vulnerable, be honest with himself. And I feel like, and then you go back to, you see someone like Joel, right? You see,
Yeah.
yeah, it's frustrating. He's kind of being honest with himself, but yet trying to avoid certain situations or feelings. And I know this is the part that you've been wanting to talk about, is that scene on the airplane where they're finally, it's Geno and his caddy and Joel on an airplane, just being raw with one another. I don't like, what was your thoughts on that interaction between the two of them?
Dude, I texted you and I said, dude, this episode has me crying. Because it was a very transparent, it was a moment I think we all were waiting for.
I didn't see
Honestly,
that coming.
I did not. And I think that was one of those things like, man, finally, he's gonna seek for help. And to see Geno
Break
cry,
down. Yeah.
I think for him to see, I don't know. I don't know if Geno cries often, but I'm sure that he probably doesn't. And it
Mm,
was one of those things where Joe was like, "Man, like this is it. Like I'm gonna change my life. I'm gonna do something different." And for Gino to see that from him probably was all he needed.
yeah.
And I was waiting for that, for just that moment, the entire episode, and for the episode to end there was perfect.
Yeah, like, yeah, I agree. I feel like I did not see that coming. Like from the beginning, like I told you, it was really frustrating seeing just seeing Joel, just what he was going through, and not being stubborn about not wanting to seek help. And at the same time, you want to show some grace too, but like at the same time, it's like, come on, bro, like all of these people you're affecting, even Gino's wife, right? Like she
Yes,
was
that was
saying things, right?
awesome.
And so, yeah, you're feeling the weight and frustration from all of them, and then all leading up to this one moment on an airplane, thousands of feet uh, up in the sky. And I feel like, yeah, in terms of like storytelling wise, like, man, like it was so emotional. But I'm hoping, like, I'm questioning like what is going to happen afterwards, or what's happening right now with Joel right now,
Exactly.
right? But you're right. Everybody needs that caddy like Gino, or a person that they can be real with and be open and just be vulnerable, even when if it hurts to like be honest with them, right? I don't know. I just that was just one of those really powerful moments and just being real. I appreciate that about that scene, that episode.
And I think it went again. It went beyond the golf part. I think
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mental health beyond how mental health affects your golf, but more than that, just your livelihood.
right.
Your, and how many people around you does it affect? And we were able to hear Gino's wife speak into it, Joel's wife speak into it. So many people just speak into the life of the individuals being affected by the golfer itself.
Yeah,
So that was good to see. I appreciated this storytelling from Netflix as well, bringing the wives in, being able to hear their perspective about what's going on in the golfer's mind and the caddy's wives too. So it was good how much they depend on the golfer to do well as well.
yeah, for sure. It's more than just golf. I know. Well, for those golfers, that's their livelihoods, right? But in
Yeah.
general, for all of us, for all people, like really, it comes down to just our own mental health, how taking that seriously, how that affects loved ones, how that affects yourself, being honest with yourself. So, yeah, for those who are in that same situation as someone like Joel, like really seek out, look, listen, like open your ears and listen to your caddy, whoever that may be.
Mm.
Find a Julie, right? And so, Yeah, I have my like close people. I got you. I got people who I can count on. And like I said, like this episode would be so relatable to everyone.
That's right. And honestly, I would echo your words. Go ahead. Listen to those. If there's two people around you that you appreciate, that you love, telling you, "Hey, you're doing this wrong," or "You need help," go find your Julie. Go find someone who's going to help you through the process, because it goes beyond golf.
Yeah,
It goes
seriously.
beyond, yeah, it goes beyond golf. So most of the people listening to this episode are golfers, but it goes beyond golf.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, like I said, I loved episode 3. I know we texted each other, and this one was, yeah, it got me good too. And so I yeah, man, any other thoughts on episode 3?
Nope, that's it. That's all I have.
Yeah, I would love to hear like your guys' thoughts. If you have any comments, like if you have any strategies maybe you're going through or that you use for your own like mental health well-being. So put it in the comments or whatnot. But yeah, I really enjoyed episode 3, like I said, and then I look forward to the Tom Kim episode. This one is the one that I've been waiting for. I love this guy's character. So stay tuned for that one. You and I, we're going to be talking about that episode. We'll see what happens. But until then, please subscribe and like, and then we'll talk to you guys soon.
Peace.